name's Isabel and I'm the Community Engagement Curator here at the Museum of Cornish Life, and I'd like to introduce you to our exhibition called Flying Free, which has been created by students from Nansloe Academy, Year 6 students, and the artist Melanie Young. So let's go and have a look at this amazing exhibition and some of the birds that it highlights. So the first thing that you can see here is a really beautiful light box. And as you can see, it contains more than one bird. So right at the top, we have this lovely pair of cuckoos in the treetops. And then just below, we have the beautiful sandpiper that really likes to live on the shore edge. And then right down at the bottom, we have one of our birds. It's a little bit more of an urban bird, which is why it's adapted so well. It's the pigeon. So the reason that we have these beautiful pictures is because we asked the students to look at our taxidermy collection, and the first exhibits that they saw were these three. So at the very top we have the cuckoo, in the middle we have the pigeon, or the feral pigeon I should say, and then at the bottom we have the little sandpiper. And for all of our birds, we have asked the students to think really carefully about the birds and what kind of habitats they like, and to do some exploration and to find out some facts, and then try and recreate the habitats that these birds would really love to live in. So this is what they've done. So if I stand back, you can see the whole display for these three birds. So we have the cuckoo up in the treetops, we have the sandpiper along the seashore, and we have the feral pigeon that's very nicely adapted to our cityscapes. The next bird that we wanted to look at was an iconic bird for Cornwall, and you can see a beautiful picture of it here. It is, of course, the Cornish chough. And this is our little Cornish chough here in its case. Now, this Cornish chough has been the subject of quite a little bit of debate recently here at the museum, because we had it in our collection. We had it labelled as being an alpine chough. But we've spoken to some local bird experts, and they've assured us that indeed it is a Cornish chough. And this is quite important because the Cornish chough was actually extinct in Cornwall for a very long time. And it's only thanks to an amazing programme developed by Paradise Park outside Hale that the chough has actually been reintroduced back to Cornwall. They worked in partnership with local farmers here down on the Lizard to recreate the habitat that this bird really needed, because as you can see, it has a lovely beak here, and in our picture you can see that the adult chough actually has a bright orange beak and bright orange legs, which makes it so distinctive. And here's a lovely picture of the Cornish chough winging its way across the rocky landscapes of the cliffs. And as you can see, the young people wanted to put down things that they thought it was important for us all to know about the Cornish chough. So as you can see, it digs for bugs, and it needs short grass, and it likes to be on cliff tops, and this is why it's endangered. But we're very, very pleased that it is coming back to Cornwall, and if you're very lucky, you can actually see these birds now. It has a 10-year lifespan. So these are all of the things that the young people discovered while they were exploring the Cornish chough. A really, really beautiful bird. And of course, in Cornish, it's called Paloris, which is also, and it's also known as the firebird. And it is, of course, on the coat of arms for Cornwall. So a really iconic bird, and we're very proud that we actually have one in our collection. You may be wondering why our chough doesn't have bright orange legs and beak, and that's because we believe this one is a juvenile. It hasn't quite grown into its colours just yet. In our next case, we have something very, very different. We have these beautiful diary extracts and these tiny little birds. These have been etched out, and then they were printed, as you can see, on these sheets of paper, and each one is accompanied by a diary entry. You can see this one's quite a beautiful one here with this little plume. And if you know your birds, you're probably already guessing which one this is. So again, it's a bird that is unfortunately endangered. It likes to be alongside farmland. It nests very low to the ground. We've got some example here of some of the vegetation that the young people discovered that this bird might like to inhabit. So you can see the little, each young person created a little card of vegetation, a diary entry, and these lovely prints. And we have many, many, many. They're like little small jewels within our exhibition. And here's a few more here. This is, again, a really lovely one. And this one, it says, Dear Diary. So these are all lovely, lovely, free creative writing from the young people, really thinking about this bird. Here we can see the bird is flying. Here it's wading. And then just to show you the actual inspiration is our little lapwing. As you can see, it's got the tuft on its head. Really small, delicate bird, and sadly, it is on the danger list. But again, there's conservation work going on to try and bring this bird back. So a really lovely story, and each of the stories, well, each of the diary entries, I should say, imagines what the lapwing would feel like if it was flying free and if it was living in its ideal habitat. And then we come on to a bird that I think many people recognise. It's a greater spotted woodpecker, and this is actually a female, and again it's a juvenile. It's a really, really beautiful little specimen of a woodpecker, and again the young people worked with the artist to create this fabulous bright light box to show us how vivid these creatures are. These beautiful birds, especially when they're flying around and zipping through with their red heads in our lovely forest areas, because woodpeckers, of course, love forests. They particularly like dead trees because then it's much easier for them to make their homes and nests. And again, this is what the young people imagined. And then for our final birds, we're going to a totally different place. You see a little sneaky peek here. Because our final bird is this one here, and his name is Henry the Parrot. But for those of you who know your parrot families, you will know that in fact he is a galah, and he's quite famous here in the museum because he has an amazing story. He was on a ship that was wrecked off the Lizard Coast in the early 1900s, and he was very brave. He flapped his way to shore to a local farmhouse, and there he lived out his days very, very happily indeed. And then eventually he came to us and is a very important part of our collection and loved by many people. And the young people found out a lot about this galah, and we were lucky enough to go to Paradise Park, which has a vast variety of birds, including many parrots and a pair of galahs, so we were able to study them up close. And what they've done is they've reimagined Henry back with all of his galah friends in the canopy in Australia, because of course that is where galahs originate from. They're very sociable birds, so the young people were very keen to put Henry back with all of his friends to be in a family group, because that's how this bird would live in the wild. And it's a really beautiful image of cacophony, I would imagine, of sound, because galahs are quite noisy. Just to finish off, I'd just like to show you some images of some of the young people at work. Here they are at Paradise Park, learning from the keepers there, who are incredibly knowledgeable about the Cornish choughs and about other birds, and some lovely drawings from one of their sketchbooks. Here they are with the artist Melanie Young, creating those beautiful lapwing screen prints, really, really lovely. And here they are down in Butterfly Woods, which is just outside Helston, finding out a little bit about wooded habitats, particularly thinking about our cuckoo and about our woodpecker, and of course pigeons as well, and learning a little bit about the natural environment around them. So I hope you've enjoyed this little look at our lovely exhibition called Flying Free. It's been a really fantastic exhibition and a fantastic project. It's helped us bring our taxidermy collection out into the community, and it's helped the young people to really learn something about the habitats around them and the habitats that these beautiful birds need in order to survive. We've talked a lot about
conservation and what we can do to try and make homes better for birds, and in doing so make the homes better for us. And I'd just like to leave you with some of the hopes that the young people have for the birds in the future. So just let you have a look at that, because there's some really beautiful thoughts here, and I think it's something that we would all echo. I'd like to thank Arts Council England and Art Fund UK for funding this project, and for the amazing artist Melanie Young for working with us all. Thank you.